Welcome everyone to episode 67 of the Chris Parrish podcast, where yes, you read that thumbnail correctly. We've known it for a week already, but John Cena is a heel. I just wanted that to sink in. I wanted everyone to read it because it only took over 20 years to get a heel turn, but we finally got one. And it's a little weird to think John Cena is a bad man. But before we get into all that, we got to talk about the good people. The good people, that is beercadewhyte, located on beercadewhyte on the X, beercadewhyte on Instagram, beercadewhyte on Facebook, located at 105 82nd Ave. Beercade's also playing AEW Revolution tonight for free, so go to Beercade, check out AEW Revolution, and reserve your spot and a table right now so you can enjoy all the action that AEW provides. Also want to give a shout out to Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. That's right, if you locate yourself at affiliationprogram.my.canva.site, you will not only see an updated website that features all the members of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, but you will also get to know a little bit more in detail about who they are, what shows that they have, where you can find the shows, and also how you could join up, potentially get a fresh new start in content creation and podcasting, and also an opportunity to collaborate with any member of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. So all you have to do is check out affiliationprogram.my.canva.site to go take that next step. If you want to follow me, make sure you go to my link tree at linktr.ee/Chris Parrish, where you can check out all the platforms that I stream on. That's right, live here for the Chris Parrish podcast. You can see me on my Facebook, my YouTube, my Twitch, my X account, and my Instagram. And then where you don't see on a live thing, but where you can find the show is also on Spotify. That's right, the Chris Parrish podcast is on Spotify. So make sure next time you're on Spotify to search the Chris Parrish podcast and send a like, a follow, and rate 5 stars. Why? Because I'm asking nicely. Please. But yeah, no, if everyone can, and you can help me grow my channels on all of the platforms, those 5 platforms of doom, I like to name them, that would be great. More importantly, though, check out the show. Be active in the chat. That would be fantastic, as it's always fun to have debates, have conversation. All I ask is be respectful, and don't be rude to any other chatters. We're all here looking to have some fun and get away on a Sunday and talk a little pro wrestling. That is what we have on the agenda. And right away, we mentioned John Cena being heel. He wasn't the only one that took a step to the dark side. Nuh-uh. At Elimination Chamber, we saw the return of Jade Cargill. She came in only to get answers for who attacked her, and just when everybody thought, okay, is she going to go after Liv Morgan, she chose to beat the everlasting glow off Naomi in a shocking turn of events. Naomi's former tag team partner, Bianca Belair, was livid inside her pod, but we got a little bit more answers on SmackDown as Bianca Belair called out Naomi. And in a very emotional back and forth, we found out that Naomi herself did attack Jade Cargill. It was admitted It was said because she wanted this to be about Bianca and Naomi. It should have always been about Bianca and Naomi. But Jade Cargill always has to come in and make it about her. This left to a very distraught Bianca Belair, who does have a WrestleMania Championship match to look forward to. Right now is slated to face newly crowned Women's Champion Io Sky. But how can she totally focus when two of her best friends are fighting? She did say that it was over between her and Naomi, but just when she was walking out, we saw Jade Cargill return to SmackDown and continue on that brutal assault on Naomi. So the question remains, did Naomi act alone? We do know that she's the one who attacked Jade Cargill. She admitted that herself on Friday. But the question I'm asking, did she act alone or did she have some help? Bianca said herself that she thought it was crazy that she is still being put into this situation, being asked if she had anything to do with it. Now, if you want my personal opinion, I do think we are going to see some development at WrestleMania. I think we're going to see a match between Naomi and Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. But during that match, we're going to see Bianca Belair reveal whether or not she had anything to do with the attack on Jade Cargill. And I do think she was the one who let Naomi in on the whereabouts of Jade. And I think we're going to see Bianca Belair admit that Naomi was right. Bianca Belair believed it also should have been about her and Naomi. But Jade Cargill comes in and then just absolutely spoils that. And it was Bianca Belair who, ended up tagging with Jade Cargill, making Jade Cargill relevant in her eyes. As Chris Best is coming in, saying, I still believe. We know that you believe. We know who you truly believe in. But Chris Best also believes that Bianca is the mastermind. What I'm very curious about is that if it's only Bianca and Naomi, or do we see more people attached to them in the long run? I ask because also on SmackDown we saw a third member join Piper Niven, an inaugural Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green, as Alba Fire helped Chelsea Green defeat Michin in a street fight, joining that secret service. And now it looks like Chelsea Green has 2 cabinet members in both Piper Niven and Alba Fire. I am very intrigued with the development of this. We now have a 3-woman group. Wondering kind of, is WWE still going to go with women groups after they decided not to renew the contract of Sonya Deville? As we have Bobby Stats. Bobby Dean coming in, saying, hello, Chris Birch. Hello, Bobby. How are you doing? Bobby also reacting on the Facebook side, just to let everyone know, if you are watching on Facebook, not only can you be active in the chat? But yes, you can leave an emote, a reaction, and I would love a reaction. You can give a thumbs up, you can get a heart, you can probably give a thumbs down if you really, really want to, just, sour my mood. But, give me like an angry face or something. Have some fun with it. And Bobby's doing good. That is good to hear. Very happy to hear. Topic at hand is maybe groups in WWE on the female side, because let's kind of look into what we have. We have Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and now Alba Fire, which I think is amazing, because now we can focus in on Chelsea Green being your singles act, while maybe putting Alba Fire and Piper Niven together. And not only now is there a group, but there is a fresh new tag team in the women's tag team picture. And then you have what I believe can be Bianca and Naomi once again after WrestleMania. I do think that is the direction. I think focusing on Jade as a singles babyface act is the long-term right move for Jade Cargill. I don't think Bianca Belair wins the championship at WrestleMania. I don't think that at all. Now, what I am curious about is, again, is there going to be more people added to a potential Naomi and Bianca Belair heel tag team? Are they going to have something along the line of a stable, or is it just going to be that standalone tag team act? Remains to be seen. Bobby coming in on Facebook saying, nice to see Alba Fire back on WWE. And I'm interested to see what Alba Fire does with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And yeah, I do think she forms a tag team with Piper Niven. I think they kind of go as that Secret Service kind of role. And maybe have kind of a Secret Service inspired name. Maybe not. Maybe they do something more towards their backgrounds, as we all know that they are European descent. So it'll be very intriguing to see kind of that. That's what I think is fun. Normally we don't see so much fresh acts kind of come in before WrestleMania, but it allows us to kind of have something to look forward to, not only during the build to WrestleMania, but also what to look forward to after WrestleMania, as I do think it's very important to kind of look into these things and see, hey, okay, this is maybe the direction that they're going to be going with after WrestleMania. Because the one thing that we found out this week is that the draft is coming back to WWE. Now, we had the transfer portal window thingamajig, whatever people wanted to call it. It had a few different names: transfer window, transfer portal. There was all there. It allowed talent to move back and forth, kind of like WWE's version of free agency, trade deadline. Bring that up because we all know, well, maybe not everyone, but us Canadians know that the NHL just had a trade deadline. And then the NFL is soon to start free agency. So we kind of had that, but now it's a draft. And I think this is a way to move talent from NXT to WWE. It's like Raw and SmackDown. I'm curious to see if NXT is going to be allowed to draft people from these shows. That would be very intriguing. Bobby is asking, which NXT wrestlers do you think gets drafted? Okay. I'm going to select up to 10. I think up to 10 is a good number. I do think we're going to see multiple women brought up. I think Roxanne Perez will be officially drafted. I think we will see Jordan Grace officially drafted. I think we could see one of Julia or Stephanie Vakir drafted. Not both. And we'll get to both of them later. I also want to see Jada Parker drafted, and the reason is I talked about the Bianca Naomi tag team or pairing. Jada Parker is someone I think can fit that role of a third in that group. I also think Trick Williams is brought up. I think either one of Tony D'Angelo or all members of the family come up. And I think Ethan Page also comes up. Let me know in the comments who everyone else has of people from NXT moving to Raw or SmackDown. And I'm also going to preface this by saying it is, in my opinion, people aren't moving up. I know I've been saying that. I don't look at it as NXT as a bottom feeding system. I do look at it as a third brand now. It's not 2.0. I did look at the 2.0 era as a feeding system for WWE. But now that everyone is, experienced, we've been seeing a lot more, just a lot more out of them. We've been seeing guys like Ricky Saints. We've been seeing guys like Ethan Page. We've been seeing, the rise of, Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes in that time. We've also been seeing guys like Sean Spears come in, and even like Ridge Holland. And I wouldn't say they're developing stars. I think you can slot them on a Raw and SmackDown, they'll be just fine. I think you can slot a lot of these talents on Raw or SmackDown, and they'll be just fine. I know in the draft we tend to get a dark horse, and I think a dark horse in this could be Sol Ruca on the women's side. I think a dark horse on the men's side is Wesley. Bobby coming in saying, I see Ethan Page and Tony D'Angelo getting called up for the men. And for the women, I'm thinking 2/3 of Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley, and JC Jane get called up, and Jasmine Nix stay in NXT. It's very intriguing. Also, I'm just going to let everyone know this is the beauty of the Chris Bears podcast and why I like this engagement with everyone, because I took notes. As you see right here, not one of those notes talks about the draft. No. Just got to call it on the fly. I think the draft is fun. A lot of people who do know me knows that I enjoy drafts. In fact, it's why I have an unhealthy obsession with fantasy football, because sometimes I just can't say no to a draft. Can't say no to a draft. I love myself a good breeze. It's just relaxing. But no, I'm someone who I love the idea of starting from scratch and putting something together and using creative juices and seeing how it all molds together. I think it's fun. It's a great outlet. It's why you see the Chris Bears podcast having drafts every year, and they're always fun. I'm always looking at ways to improve them. Also looking at ways to make them different every time that I do them. So yeah, might have to do a third installment of it with the draft coming up. So we will see. Stay tuned to find that out. A few people that we know who aren't being drafted are potential return/debuts in WWE. That's right. Coming out of AEW contracts are talents by the names of Malachi Black, Miro, and Rey Fenix. Now, it is being reported heavily through multiple sources: Fightful, WrestleOps, PW Insider, that WWE has already put pen to paper on creative ideas for immediate plans for both Rey Fenix and Malachi Black. Now, whether or not it's going to be Malachi Black or Aleister Black, or maybe he shocks us all and goes to Tommy End, who knows? But I do believe that we will see one of either Malachi, Aleister Black as the new member to the Judgment Day. I do believe that Rey Fenix will join his brother. And I do think that we're going to see the Lucha Bros compete together at WrestleMania. As much as I want to see the further growth of Penta, the singles act, I think we can still get that. I just feel if Rey Fenix is a right now possibility, you got to strike when the iron is hot. Especially if Penta is doing something with Ludwig Kaiser and you're sprinkling Pete Dunne there. And then you got to think about if Tyler Bate does come back, there's going to be help needed on the side of Penta. Rey Fenix is an obvious choice. Now, this is where it gets tricky because obviously that would be 3-on-2. On SmackDown, we saw a segment with Los Garza and Santos Escobar after Los Garza failed to become number one contenders for the tag team titles, which, by the way, shout outs, congratulations to Pretty Deadly on becoming the number one contenders for the tag team titles. They will face one of either DIY or the Street Profits, who will battle it out for the tag team titles this upcoming Friday. Bobby coming in saying Aleister Black would be a great addition to SmackDown or Raw. I do think he will eventually go to SmackDown after the draft. I think he debuts as the member of the Judgment Day. I do foresee the Judgment Day moving to SmackDown. In fact, I do think the Judgment Day and the Wyatt Six could start a feud at WrestleMania and continue it throughout the aftermath of WrestleMania. But anyway, back to the segment. After the match, Santos Escobar had some words for Berto and Angel. Not happy that they didn't get the job done. Now, after Santos walked out, Angel said to his cousin, he's right. And then he walked off. But before Berto got to say or do anything, we see Andrade coming in. And Andrade kind of looks at Berto and then in kind of words that, this is not verbatim. It's just kind of my version. Basically saying he's always seen something in Berto. And he thinks that there's something more for him. Almost looking like he's going to recruit Berto. Now, do I see that happening? No. Eventually, I think Berto is going to get met up by Angel and Santos. They're going to decline. Andrade. And what Andrade is going to do is he is going to join Penta and Rey Fenix. And then we are going to see trios going on. And I do think that is something we could see moving forward. We're going to see more emphasis on tag team, maybe some trio stuff. And I think it'd be very healthy in WWE to have a good tag team division on one side, and then maybe some tag team factions on the other. Let me know what you think in the chat. But yeah, as per Miro, aka Rusev, I would like to see him be drafted to NXT. The reason is I would like to see him be the guy that attacks Obafemi on Tuesday after his match against Moose. Imagine a main event match at Stand and Deliver for the NXT World title with Obafemi versus Rusev. I'll wait to get your reactions because I think that is a great match. And the reason why I want to see this on NXT is simple. I think you would be lost in the shuffle on Raw or SmackDown with all the movement there, with all the talent that you already have. I think he would just get lost in the shuffle on Raw or SmackDown. But what you can do with him is revitalize his momentum, revitalize his character, revitalize the act in NXT. And I know I don't think you do this for a few months. I think you can do this for at least a year. Because look at the people he could work with the next year. He could work with guys like Obafemi. He could work with guys like Sean Spears. He could work with guys like Javion Evans. He could work, if Tony D'Angelo stays, with a Tony D'Angelo. He can also work with Ridge Holland. He can also work with Ricky Saints. There is a lot of people there. So that is why I think Miro, Rusev, you could go to NXT. You can thrive. NXT is a weekly show on Netflix as well in Canada and internationally. I believe it's the CW in the States. So it's something that you still need to make compelling content for because there is a live audience that watches the show every week. So why not do something fresh for the audience? And the best part is you can then have just a good little variety on your show. Because the one thing I do fear about this draft, as I get back, just swing back to the draft for a little bit, is I hope they don't pluck too many parts away from NXT to disrupt what they have in their strength. And that is a very deep women's division. And you're starting to see a good little mid-card on the men's division with so many good acts that I hope they don't disrupt that as well. And I also would like to see a little bit more tag team emphasis in NXT as well. It just doesn't seem like Fraxium has a lot of competitors right now. But speaking of NXT, on Tuesday, they have decided that they need to do a show on yours truly's birthday. And they're going to call it Roadblock. And I think this would be a great time to kind of give my thoughts and my predictions for Roadblock. We have 5 matches at Roadblock. In a street fight, we have Javion Evans versus Ethan Page. And yes, I do believe that this is the time Javion Evans gets his W against Ethan Page. I think not only does he get the win here, I think he equals out their, 1 versus 1. They're tied at 1. Stand and Deliver can be your finale, and that can be your swan song in NXT for Ethan Page. It's made Javion Evans a little bit bigger of a superstar, and Ethan Page now can say, okay, you won the heavyweight championship, or the title. It's not a heavyweight championship, it's just a championship. You've had some feuds with a lot of people, and you put over one of the young, up-and-coming high flyers on the brand on your way out. Completed. I think he's done just about everything you had hoped and exceeded expectations, because Ethan Page is that kind of a talent. It's coming in. We have Jay Lee Beans. How are you doing? It's good to see you. People, if you want to follow Jay Lee Beans on Twitch, go check her channel out. She plays a lot of games. She sings. Beautiful voice, by the way. So go check her out. Go support her. It's always a fun stream. If you can make fart noises. It's fun. I had fun until she raised the prices on that. So, but yeah. Good to see you. Hope your Sunday is doing well. Hope your coffee or your espresso was delicious. Talking a little predictions of a Roadblock that is happening on Tuesday, aka my birthday. We also have Roxanne Perez going up against Jordan Grace, and I think this match is a dark horse for match of the night. A lot of people are just waiting for Roxanne to move up to Raw or SmackDown. I think Jordan Grace is in a weird state where I think right now it makes a lot of sense for her on NXT because she adds that star power to the brand, especially right now when you have Julia, Stephanie Fakir kind of there. You have a 3-headed monster that just says, hey, look at our division. Our women's division is going to kick your women's division ass. And when you have Jordan Grace, Stephanie Fakir, and Julia as the top 3 on your brand, yeah, it's hard to disagree. I do think Jordan Grace gets the win here. I don't see why Roxanne Perez needs really any wins anytime soon on NXT. Not that I'm saying, oh, she should just be used to put people over. I'm not saying that. But it just, I don't think she gets anything out of a win. Again, she already has a win over Jordan Grace as they fought last year for the NXT Women's Championship while Jordan Grace was the TNA Knockouts champion. And I think this is where Jordan Grace gets that win back. And then again, you have a 1-1. If Cora Jade is hurt, as it looked like she suffered a head injury, possible concussion, her match against Jordan Grace was stopped. This could be a good way to say, okay, we're going to go with this. Again, you can have a 1-1 going into Stand Deliver. Jordan Grace gets that finale win. Boom. Roxanne, you're off to Raw or SmackDown now. You've done the deed for some. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jordan Grace stay at NXT just for a little bit longer. But I do have Jordan Grace picking up the win, just like I have Javion Evans picking up the win. Next up, we have the first title match of the night, and it's for the TNA Tag Team titles. We have Nathan Frazier and Axiom, better known as Fraxium, going up against Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys. Or just the Hardys. I don't think they're called the Hardy Boys in TNA, but yeah, we know that the Hardy Boys. Or Team Extreme, which I'm very surprised they never used that in anywhere else. I do have the Hardys retaining their championships. In fact, I was going to go as far as saying if this match was for the NXT Tag Team Championships, I would have still picked the Hardys. I think this match is going towards a winner-takes-all ladder match at Stand and Deliver for both sets of tag team championships, which I think would be absolutely fun to watch. Whether you get a swanton off a ladder from Jeff, or we see a Phoenix Splash from Nathan Frazier, or we see Axiom do a shooting star, moonsault, whatever he does, because that guy just knows how to fly. And then hopefully we just don't see Matt Hardy kill his spine anymore with leg drops off a ladder. I hope he's done with that, because I don't want to see him get hurt. But yeah, no, I do have the Hardy Boys winning. And I'm going to go one step further. Matt Hardy pins Axiom. Bobby coming in saying Jordan Grace versus Stephanie Fakir would be a nice match. Anything involving both competitors would be a nice match. Great match. I don't have a single negative word to say about the performers of Jordan Grace and Stephanie Fakir. Which is ironic, because that is the next match. Although, if I wasn't creative, this match would be my main event. But it is Women's North American Champion Stephanie Fakir taking on NXT Women's Champion Julia in a title versus title match. It is not a unification match. Both titles are on the line. One woman will walk out with both titles, but the titles will not be unified unless they specify otherwise. Vic Joseph went on social media to simply reiterate that it's not a unification match, even though he said he may have said so on TV. He said he was just trying to basically shut Booker T up or mess around with Corey Graves, but he just wanted to clarify that, to his knowledge, this is not a unification match. What's going around is that Julia is battling some injuries. Not enough to the point that keeps her out of action, but it is something to note. If she's fine, I don't see why you take the title off her. I just don't. However, if there is a concern right now, then this is a great way to allow Stephanie Fakir, who defeated Fallon Henley for that North American Championship and was able to rise to a different level, I thought, with that win, could then walk away with both titles, and then you could see somebody come after her for the North American Championship, like Fatal Influence. Maybe we see JC Jane challenge for the North American Championship, only to see Fallon Henley go after the Women's Championship. That's something to note. I wonder if Stephanie Vicure does win, that is going to be my pick. Gonna let people know, a little secret. You will not see me go up against Stephanie Vicure or Lyra Valkyria very often. Just saying. But if Stephanie Vicure does win and does hold both championships, does she defend both championships at Stand and Deliver? Or do they do something beforehand? I'm very curious on this. And I guess the same would go with Julia. I'm actually a lot more curious to why they decided to do a title versus title match. I can understand why you want to do this match. I'm very much understanding to why you want to do this match because it's a fantastic match. And whoever decided to do it on my birthday, well, thank you so much. Just to get the first title versus title women's match. The very first main and secondary women's title versus title match in company history. As we have a alert from Jaylee Beans. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day too. And I appreciate you coming down on the stream and lurking and slurping that espresso. Thank you again. Great to see you. And again, anybody, if you want to go support Jaylee Beans on Twitch, make sure you do so. I know she plays Fortnite. I know she does other games as well. She sings. Go support her. She's great. And she's a good friend. Next up, we have Obafemi versus Moose in what appears to be the main event. It is for the NXT World title. Moose is the X Division champion. Obafemi is the NXT World champion. This is not title versus title. Therefore, I'm going to say Obafemi is my pick to win. Bobby Petito coming in and saying he wants to see Ricky Saints go after the North American Championship. And I do think that makes a lot of sense for Stand and Deliver. I also think Tony D'Angelo getting a rematch makes a lot of sense. And I think I'm going to say that could be the March 18th edition of NXT. And then maybe we see a number one contenders match for that championship. And yeah, you can have Ricky Saints win that. In fact, on March 18th, could be a great day to kind of focus around that championship and have maybe a number one contenders match to the North American Championship. And you can have multi amount of people. You can do a battle royal, ultimately won by Ricky Saints, or you can just do a four corners with like Ricky Saints, Javion Evans, Wes Lee, and then maybe Stacks. And then you can also have the rematch between Tony D'Angelo and Sean Spears, and then boom, off to the races we go. Because the number one contender will then be the number one contender, and he would get that opportunity at Stand and Deliver. Yeah. Look at that, Bobby. We came together. We just made a great match for Stand and Deliver. That easy. So yeah, that is NXT RoadBlock. You can catch that on Netflix or on the CW this Tuesday. Stay tuned to my channels because you may see either a watch along or maybe a reaction show to NXT RoadBlock. That all depends on other priorities, obviously. I'm not going to lie. I have a little one that I'm going to spend a lot of time with on that day. So we'll see where it goes, but I might do something. It's also not very often I get a good wrestling show on my birthday as well. So we'll see. Other news to note, the megastar with everybody saying L.A. Knight, yeah, is now once again a two-time, but also your United States champion. He defeated Shinsuke Nakamura in a great main event match on Friday. The question is now, is this the finale of Shinsuke versus L.A. Knight? It seemed like L.A. Knight went through everything just to get a one-on-one straight-up match with Shinsuke, and then when he did, he won. It doesn't feel like they need to do a third match or another match. I guess that was the third match. So my question is, what's next for the United States champion? Do we see Shinsuke versus LA Knight one more time, or do we see LA Knight get a new competitor for the United States Championship? I'm leaning closer to that, and I see one of either Santos Escobar or Carmelo Hayes or even The Miz as potential opponents. Let me know in the chat, in the comment section, who you guys have as. You know what? No, I'll have something else for the Spotify question of the week. Yeah, because I like this topic next. We also saw this week that both the Natural Disasters and the Total Package Lex Luger are inductees to the 2025 draft class of the Hall of Fame. Yeah, both Earthquake and Typhoon going in to the Hall of Fame, as well as one half of the Allied Powers, the driver of the Lex Express, the first ever co-winner, or one half of the co-winners of a Royal Rumble match, because him and Bret Hart did win the 1994 Royal Rumble match. Former WCW champion, former WCW Tag Team champion, United States champion, multi-champions, once played in a Grey Cup. Yeah, that's right. Lost to my local CFL team. That's right. I still can't believe he name dropped the Edmonton Eskimos on the Chris Van Vliet. Of all things, I did not expect Lex Luger to name drop was the Canadian football team that I watched as a kid. It was just weird. Because like nobody I know is like a CFL fan. They're all like NFL people, so just hearing that's weird. But you kind of forget too how many people played football that then later became wrestlers, and then also how many of those football players didn't make it in the NFL at one point, or they had their careers shortened in the NFL and went and played Canadian football just to keep it going. Roman Reigns was an example. The Rock, another example. Just crazy to see how many people did play Canadian football. A lot more than you would think. And like big names too. It's not like bums, no. The Final Boss, the Tribal Chief, the Total Package, all play Canadian football. And guess what? Lex Luger, Hall of Famer. Well deserved. Natural Disasters, congratulations. Spotify question of the week is, who inducts Lex Luger in the Hall of Fame? Now, right away, you say Sting, right? But then you also have to look at the impact Diamond Dallas Page had on Lex Luger. Basically saved his life. And I think you can make a real case for Diamond Dallas Page. But ultimately, my pick, my hope is Sting. I hope we see Sting once again in the WWE, but this time to induct Lex Luger in the Hall of Fame. It'd be very nice to see, and I think it's very classy. Hopefully, my hope, and I think this is everyone's hope, I really hope we get to see Lex Luger walk to the podium. How amazing would that be? Now, you don't need to walk, you just need to click affiliation program .my.canva.site to go check out all of the content creations that are made through the Turnbuckle Studios platform. But if by chance you just want to say, well, guess what? I don't want to go on to another link. Can you just do something for me now? And then I go, fine. Here's a minute-long video of where you can see what Turnbuckle Studios has coming this week. Check it out.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we got total non-stop action with Brace for Impact at 8 p.m. Friday we game again with Unleashed, the Jessica Wilde story at 7 p.m. Following the game, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
And that is what we have going on. I do believe the only schedule change as of right now is we don't see much on the Jessica Wilde front. But don't worry. I know Chris Best is planning on bringing back more WWE 2K content when he gets WWE 2K25. So just wait. Be patient. Because that's going to be a lot of fun. That is going to wrap up for episode 67 of the Chris Parrish podcast. Again, I want to just say thank you to everyone for taking the time out of your Sunday to listen to me just talk wrestling. But I also want to give a shout out to everyone who decided to join in and to add to the show. Because like I say, I'll take notes just to have a rough outline of what to talk about, but I have no problem going off the rails a little bit, off script, if the conversation leads that way. But before I go, I do want to just take a shout out to say thank you to everyone who does sponsor the Chris Parrish podcast, like the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Once again, go check that out at affiliationprogram.my.canva.site. You can go check that out and get so much information, get to know a little bit more about everyone, and then also see if there is room for you to either work with us, collaborate with us, or just see if there is an intrigue out there for you. My local sponsor, beercadewhyte, located on X at beercadewhyte, beercadewhyte on Instagram, and beercadewhyte on Facebook, located 105 82nd Avenue. Go check them out tonight as they are showcasing AEW Revolution, a free showing of AEW Revolution. Go and reserve your table today, right now. It's going to be fun. You might see me. You might not. But remember, it's all fun. It's wrestling. Get to see if Christian Gage cashes in and becomes AEW World Champion. That is my prediction. I'm predicting Christian Cage walks out of Revolution as your next AEW champion. If not, then whatever. He still has it. I just wanted to see if Christian can actually win it. If you want to support me, go check out my link tree at linktr.ee/Chris Parrish. You can check out all of my platforms, the 5 platforms of Doom. That is Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram. You can also check out Chris Parrish on Blue Skies. That's right. I am on Blue Skies at chrisparrish.bsky.social. You can go check that out, as well as my link tree, as well as Chris Parrish Podcast on Spotify, which you will be able to see all of the episodes, every one that I've done so far. And right after this live show, I will be uploading episode 67, so you will get everything up to date on the Chris Parrish Podcast. And if you can't, go rate Chris Parrish Podcast 5 stars. Why? Because it's just nice to do. And you know what? If you would like to wish me a happy birthday, do so by rating the Chris Parrish Podcast 5 stars on Spotify. That'd be great. Spotify question of the week will be, who would you like to see induct Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame? I would like to induct everyone into my Hall of Fame, because I know without you, I cannot be who I am, and that is very important to me. Remember, everyone, be happy, be healthy, because at the end of the day, you matter. Thank you so much for checking out the Chris Parrish Podcast, and I will see you again next week. Until then, go Saints.